Hi everyone, thank you for joining us on the Watermark Interim Executive introduction video. If you are watching this, it's because you are interested in joining the ranks of the Interim Executive cohort here at Watermark Search. And we hope that this video that the team have pulled together for you is a great introduction and may answer a lot of your questions around working as an interim executive and how the process works. So my name's Caroline McAuliffe. I'm a senior partner here at Watermark Interim Exec. I co-founded the practice 14 years ago. I've been working as an interim executive recruiter now for 20 years here in Australia, and have witnessed the enormous rise of interim executive here in Australia. So much so I've written a book about it as well. So you are able to access that book online at theinterimexecutive.com.au if you're interested in reading about a guide to navigating your career in interim executive. But moving on, I just want to give you a brief overview of the Watermark practice here. We are pioneers in the Australian interim industry here in Australia. I co-founded the practice 14 years ago. We've now grown significantly to 6 dedicated interim partners with a wonderful support team, highly skilled support team. So we undertake national mandates across various sectors, but at the C-suite and the layer below at most. We've been combined. We have specialist partners here in interim, so this isn't transactional for us. We are very much business advisors and consultants, experts in the field of interim executive, with 50 years combined interim experience in the team. We are thought leaders in this space, and you will note that for the past 14 years we've been conducting an interim executive survey of the Australian market. Access to all of the reports are available online, and our latest 14th year report is also available. It was launched last month. It's the only Australian data available on the interim executive field here in Australia. So we write this report, we analyse the data that we are sent back through our participants from the market. So it's the most up-to-date data, themes and trends available to you. So please do go look at that. Jacinta and I, a partner in Melbourne, again, we're award-winning subject matter authors. So again, please go and seek out that book. It's a great guide to navigating your career transition to interim. Look, Watermark have been around for over 40 years in the Australian market. So not only do we do interim, but we are also a very experienced search firm, providing C-suite delivery of search and board search. And we have a team of about 25 across Australia. And we've appointed, as we see there in the stats, a CEO every 4 weeks in our over 40 years now. We're solving about 4 interim client problems a week. And we're very proud that, over 50% of our successful candidate placements are either gender or culturally diverse. That's quite a high number, and we're very proud of that in the local market. So yeah, we're a very busy search firm offering those 3 key deliverables of interim executive search and board search. Why Watermark? Why in Watermark Interim? Look, you have access to the largest interim database in Australia. We are known for our professionalism and we have a strong reputation in this space. We provide the third-party governance that's so important in any executive search. We offer a seamless back-end payrolling system. So we take all of the trouble away from you. We provide the credibility of our experience, and we offer that solution every time, every assignment. We do these assignments ourselves. We deliver these personally. So you're getting, what you're buying is all of our years of experience on any one assignment. We are a fast-paced solution, so very different from the permanent search world. It's almost executive on demand, basically, or solution on demand. We are, an emergency service for crisis, but we turn these assignments around in a week, not months. So you're going to get a solution to your problem immediately. Moving on to give you some idea of the maturity of the interim executive market here. Why are organizations looking to deploy this talent? We're living in such a world of challenge and change and economic shifts, as well as layer upon that, cutting edge technologies and the adoption of AI. And the trialing of AI, our whole lives and workplaces will see a massive change. It is a new economy. We're driving, the dramatic change of the intelligence age, we'll call it. And so therefore, we need to reimagine new leadership. We need to hire differently. We need to be more innovative and creative to be future fit. Our clients have been busily transforming operational systems post-COVID, and we're seeing this rising demand for purpose, values, meaning, and these need to be, I suppose, put into all of that. As an organisation, you need to have a unique value proposition for what will be, 5 generations working in the workforce coming up, and a big chunk of that workforce is this talent pool, this mature executive talent pool offering their services in this new way. So their interim execs offer experience, they are flexible, adaptable, and they can run with you on this in this new world of work. And the 2 key areas that were skills identified in our latest survey is just that, their agility and adaptability. That's what they bring. So a couple of key highlights from the survey and trends this year to bring you completely up to date. Again, agility and adaptability was noted as the biggest trend that our executive cohort bring to a solution, and not only just their adaptability in their traits, but also in the way that clients are engaging this year. We've seen a huge rise in the daily rate contract as opposed to fixed term contract, and this would point to the ability to adapt very quickly to changing business circumstances. You might not need a full-time permanent resource for now, and it's very much a below-the-line cost to the business as opposed to a fixed-term cost of a permanent. So you're borrowing the talent rather than buying it. The biggest requirement for interims working was business transformation mandates in the last 12 months. Followed by filling skills gap and crisis management, which has always been. Longer contracts are growing in terms of terms. So the average contract now sits around 7 or 8 months in duration. In the past, it's been something like 3 months. Interestingly, the skills gap identified in this year's survey by our participants was, obviously cybersecurity, huge need for that skill, as well as data analytics, definitely on the rise as we look at utilizing AI and we need to first cleanse our data. So we've had a huge demand for that skill, and we see that continuing. But interestingly, this 54% have identified executive management and leadership as a skills gap here in Australia. And look, that is quite important for, I mean, the interims are going in and seeing this skills gap. And I think that's come in the main part potentially from COVID, where we saw people with huge amounts of wisdom and experience leave the ranks of organisations, and potentially junior executives being promoted beyond their capability and thrown into the deep end, really. And so we need to refocus on developing our leadership and skills and experience out there, which is key for future success. So, and then the value, you know, there's a perception that interim executives are an expensive resource for the business, and it's our job to actually break that down and bust that myth, because it actually isn't. There's a huge return on investment, and there's a huge amount of value that an interim executive can bring. It's not just their domain expertise, it's also their mentoring abilities, their experience, their ability to hit the ground running and bring about change and transformation very quickly in a very emotionally intelligent way. We looked at artificial intelligence and AI. You know, the key 2 points there would be that, yes, there is a prediction that AI will be one of the biggest business disruptors in the next 24 months. At the same time, it appears that it's still in its infancy in terms of the adoption and utilization of AI in business. And it does beg the question as to whether or not we are overestimating potentially the impact of AI. You know, there's a lot of fear around AI and it's going to take my job and so on and so on. But I mean, is that the case, or is it a bit of a 2YK scenario where actually nothing did happen when the clock struck midnight in the year 2000? And in fact, or are we completely underprepared for what's about to hit us? It's been the fastest adoption of any business tool ever. So I don't think we can, I think what we need to be doing is at least trialing it. And interim executives are a way to do that very successfully by trialing off to the side. It's a very painless way of seeing if, you know, you're going to automate a process or a different function, or you can bring in an interim executive to do that off to the side, not in your main part of your business, until such a time as you're ready to adopt. Longevity was the other key theme that we explored in this year's survey. Of course, we are about to hit a workforce with 5 generations, and we're talking to all pools, you know, particularly our pool of executives who are at the mature end of that generational workforce, how they can add so much value in their mentoring capacity, in particular with all of those more junior execs who haven't been through some of the circumstances and change and transformation and crisis that they have. But from an organizational point of view, we need to talk to our organizations about how they develop a unique value proposition that is adaptable to each of those generations, because they'll all want something different and desire something different. So we talk about that. Overwhelmingly, the survey data shows that our respondents are looking for meaningful work, and they're actually placing a value over that. But it's not so much the contract type. They're keeping open-minded about whether it's a permanent assignment, interim assignment, consulting assignment. What's most important to them is the meaningful work piece. So that's been an interesting factor that's come out of the survey this year. Now, I'm going to hand over to my colleague Alex Brown, who's going to talk to you about how to become a successful interim executive, and then followed by our colleague Pip Westhoff, who's going to talk to you about how to work successfully with us, hand in hand, how to develop your own brand. So hopefully this will be a very helpful scenario video for you to listen to. We have a range of resources and materials available online on our website, watermarksearch.com.au. So please do refer back to them. And hopefully we will be seeing you in our community soon. Thanks very much.
My name is Alex Brown. I'm a partner here in the interim practice at Watermark in Sydney, and a colleague of Caroline, who you have just heard from, and Pip, who you will hear from next. And I'm here to talk to you about the traits of a successful interim exec. You know, what do you need to think about, and how do you need to present yourself to make sure that you are successful? So the first thing that we would say is you need to be both immediately available for interview and to start an assignment. When a client comes to us with a problem, they come to us with an expectation that they are going to see a short list of qualified, credentialed, available, immediate candidates within 3 to 5 business days, go through the interview process, and effectively start a candidate in the middle of the second week after briefing us. So the whole process from sort of initial call through to start date can be as short as 5 or 6 business days, can be 7 or 8. But typically, obviously, you need to be really accessible and available both for those interviews and to start work. And if you are planning to go away, that's fine. We just need to know that in advance. The second thing I would say is really important as you embark on this career is to be mindful of the fact that you need to be both flexible and resilient. So the resilience piece is because you need to be able to manage effectively the downtime when you are between assignments. And that downtime, or the amount of downtime there is really, in some ways, up to you. So some portfolio professionals prefer to only work 4 to 6 months of the year in an interim role. Others prefer 9 to 10 months. You're on your own journey here and responsible for that to a degree, but you need to be able to be resilient when you may be in a situation you'd like to be working, but regrettably you haven't found your next role yet. And that leads me to the flexible piece, because in those situations, sometimes you may feel that you want to be slightly more flexible on your rate or on your preferred locations or on the work that you're going to be delivering, because you find yourself in a situation where you want, you know, your appetite for work is greater than it might have been 6 months ago. It's really important that you clearly articulate your personal offering as an interim exec, both to us when we first meet you, but also to the clients when we put you forward for an interview. You know, our clients come to us with a problem, and we work with them to ascertain what are the set of experiences and skills required for the successful applicant to be successful to solve that problem. And we need to be able to understand from you and from our initial meeting that you have those skills. So this is all about really looking at your own value proposition. And Pip is going to talk to you about that in more detail in a minute. The key thing around that as well, obviously, is evidence. So have a think about the sets of circumstances that you have been in your career and what you have delivered that you are most proud of. What are the programs of work that you have delivered that you have had the most impactful outcome? What was that outcome? What were the levers that you pulled to make that successful? Was it individual? Was it team? Have a think about those things. Sometimes it's a good idea to talk to people that know you well and get their view on that as well. Stakeholder management and influencing skills are critical as an interim exec, but are also really tickets to the game. When you operate at this level, we would expect everybody who's been in a C-suite role previously to have those skills, and you are definitely going to need them, because when you go into an interim exec role, you're going in to solve an immediate problem. The expectation is that you have done it several times before, you know what to do, and you are going in there to influence people who you fundamentally in 6 to 8 months' time you're not going to see again. You have potentially have no future in that organization. They may not even report to you. So it's a critical skill to have as an interim exec, but it's one that we would expect all the people that we registered to have and to have developed throughout their mainstream career. Remaining relevant and recent is a key thing here. This is about making sure that you stay up to date with changes in regulation, perhaps if that's relevant to your sector, technology changes, industry news, making sure that you are up to date so that when you go for interview, you are, again, you can come across with confidence to the client that you can operate successfully in this sector and you're not going to be caught out. And then finally on this point, we often get asked, what is the difference between a management consultant and an interim executive? And we would say that an interim executive can do and does do everything a management consultant will do, but with the added accountability for execution, implementation, and outcome. So they won't leave at the point of sort of diagnostics with a plan. They will stay through to the successful conclusion of this program of work and leave the client in steady state, hopefully with an more upskilled team around them to then take on and optimize whatever it is that's been delivered to date. So that's really, I think, the key traits of a successful interim exec. So what I'm going to talk about now is Ella and Isaac. So Ella and Isaac are our 2024 Interim Executive Survey avatars. So to give you a little bit of context about Ella and Isaac, Watermark has been running our Interim Exec Survey now for 14 years. And about 3 years ago, we decided that it would be a really good idea to visualize, if you like, your typical female and male interim execs and put them across to you as avatars so that you can see the experiences that they have had in the market over the last 12 months. So this data is all drawn from the survey. We had over 900 respondents this year. This is not subjective. It's not what we feel. It's all completely data driven from the survey. And this is not just interim execs that are on placement through Watermark. This is interim execs Australia-wide. So you can see here the key demographics, I guess, of Ella and Isaac. I think there's a few things here that are important to talk about or changes over the last 12 months. One of those things is that the length of current assignments has been growing. So we think this is largely to do with the fact that transformation and delivering change, delivering new operating models, delivering new systems, delivering new programs of work is a large part of the reason now that our clients access this talent pool. So historically, sort of pre-COVID anyway, the majority of occasions where clients called us was in crisis mode. You know, there has been an unexpected departure from the executive team, or the board had lost faith in a member of the executive team, or some sort of crisis had happened whereby the decision was taken to bring in an immediately available interim exec to solve the problem. And it really was sort of burning platform type scenarios. In this survey, we understand that those scenarios make up 25% of the occasions where our clients are engaging in this talent pool. There's two other now bigger business cases or stories, if you like, a set of circumstances around which our clients come to us. One is around leading transformation, and the other is to fill a specific skills gap. And when we think about delivering big programs of transformational change, it typically takes longer than 6 months, which is your average time to go through an external search for a permanent person, which is why we think we're seeing these contracts go on for longer than they have been in previous years. And we think the same thing explains also the other big change as to why now there are more interims being employed as day rate contractors than as fixed term contractors on an employee and on a client's books as a permanent employee, or as a fixed term employee, I should say. And that's because when you're employed through us on a day rate to a client, the whole thing is managed through timesheets, and there is an inbuilt level of flexibility there. So if at the beginning of a program of work you're needed 4 days a week, you fill in timesheets that reflect that and you're paid accordingly. And if at different times the number of days per week that you're required flexes and goes up and down, the timesheet system automatically accounts for that. So you only get paid for the days that you work, and that can change with no notice whatsoever. You just fill it in historically for the previous week. So it builds in a huge amount of flexibility, both for the client and for yourself, depending on where you are with the program of work that you're delivering. And so we think that's why we've seen an increase in the number of interims employed that way. And I think that the other thing to really highlight from Ella and Isaac this year is around sourcing work. So Watermark is Australia's largest interim exec provider. We have now 6 dedicated partners working exclusively in this market. But with the best will in the world, we are not going to place everybody, much as we'd love to. So we spend a lot of time out there talking to our clients, educating our clients, and engaging with new clients on, how this talent pool could help them solve their business problems. But it's really critical that you are doing the same thing through your network. So we would encourage you to spend as much time as you can revisiting your LinkedIn book, thinking through all the people that you've worked with in the past, who've worked for you in the past, or you've worked for in the past, looking at where they've spidered webbed out to, and having meaningful conversations with them about how you can help them deliver change in their current role. And bear in mind, the people that have worked with you in the past are likely to be your strongest advocates, because they know exactly what you can deliver, how you deliver, they understand your style, how you like to work, etc. So we would encourage you to contribute to LinkedIn conversations. We'd encourage you to write blogs, post meaningful content. It's not just about, liking other people's posts. It's being more influential and engaged than that, because that will get you into more people's feeds. So we would encourage you to do as much as you can around that. And then I think the other thing is just around longevity. Our survey has a whole section on this, and we've touched on a number of things already that will help you to maintain longevity in the marketplace. But again, have a look at the survey around that. It's a lot of this is around networking, maintaining strong professional relationships, and remaining current. So I hope that's helpful. I'm now going to pass you over to my colleague, Pip, who's going to talk in more detail about how to best present yourself and how to work with us, Watermark, as a broker. Many thanks.
Hi, my name is Pip Westhoff. I'm a part of the Interim Watermark team here in Sydney. In this video, we're going to be talking about how best to present your brand and partnering with Watermark. One of the first things we talk about to people joining the interim community is around sort of building your own network. When we're talking about building your own network, we're talking about reaching out to people that you know in the market, whether that be people that you've worked with or people that you know in the market, to let them know that you're now taking a different career choice and looking at doing interim type work in the market. A part of building your network is looking at your LinkedIn profile and best how to engage with your network through LinkedIn. When looking at your LinkedIn profile, we very much suggest that you have it updated and detailed with the type of skill sets that you have, so people are able to look through your background, as well as when you're reaching out to people, they can see when you've completed roles and when you've come available for positions. It's really important to have your LinkedIn profile updated, as it is a very active way of people looking in the market, as well as people approaching you. With regards to your resume, you might want to have a number of different styles of resume based on what we call your value proposition or your superpowers. So when we're talking about superpowers, we're talking about value proposition, is we're talking about what makes you stand out to everyone else, and in particular talking about what problems you are best to solve when working with our clients. This is really important to make sure that you start thinking about value proposition and superpowers, because this is going to be your selling point as an executive within the interim community. What we also suggest is keeping very much up to date in the market, attending webinars on LinkedIn. Watermark would also be sending you webinars and podcasts to keeping you very much present within the market. What we also ask from you when joining the community is keeping Watermark updated with regards to opportunities that come from your own network. We do have many people who have joined our community and their first role may come from their own network. This could be a 3-month role. What we do ask is obviously clear and open communication around how long that position is going. We will update our details. That way we will be able to reach out to you when the appropriate role comes in and when you're available in the market. On our website for the interim, joining the interim community, we talk about long life learning. When we're talking about long life learning, we're talking about you as a interim consultant keeping yourself very much update and present in the market. This could be looking at any development of personal skills around sort of key subjects or key trends in the market. For example, AI is a pretty popular one at the moment. Very much looking at your own personal development. So looking at whether you're wanting to do some coaching. This is a way of also sort of reaching out and building that network that you own for your own brand. We also, as Watermark, as an organisation, we're very much wanting to partner with you and introduce you to people that have other sort of executives that are in our community. We will also be sort of keeping you updated with any market insights that we're seeing. So any trends that we're seeing, podcasts, webinars, we very much encourage you to attend those or comment on them on LinkedIn. This is definitely a way of building your own personal development and your own personal brand. We want to every quarter we put together sort of breakfasts where it's an opportunity for you to do some networking with other people that are in our interim community. This is an opportunity for you also to build out that network that personal network and brand that you have in the market. These people who attend those breakfasts are very much similar people to yourself who have chosen a interim career portfolio. They could be anything from CEOs, CFOs, CPOs, people who have taken this time to basically choose a different way of working in the market and taking on a executive interim career. We have in the interim team, we have a dedicated community manager that look after all our interim executives that join Watermark. Bronte looks after is basically any sort of community news and events that are coming up. She also will be the first point of contact for you. Watermark are known as a thought leader. In particular, we've recently released our interim survey, which we're very proud of, as well as the Board Diversity Index, which is on our website, which please I encourage you to have a look at. Caroline, the senior partner in Sydney, she's also obviously published a book that talks about the rise of interim executive, which also I very much encourage anyone to purchase that or have a read of that. Thank you very much for your time. It was lovely to meet with you and look forward to speaking to all of you in the future. I will now pass you back to Caroline.
Thank you everyone for joining us on this video. We hope you found it valuable information. What we want to achieve from the video is to ensure that you understand what interim executive is as a career path. Is it for you? And hopefully we've answered some of those questions. And also Alex presented on what makes for a successful interim career for you, and Pip talked about how you can go about working with us successfully in terms of your brand and your unique value proposition. So we look forward to continuing the discussion with you, connecting with you ongoing. You can send your resume, if you haven't done so already, to interim@watermarksearch.com.au. And also, as mentioned previously, if you are interested in the guide to navigating this new career path, you'll find that the book of The Rise of the Interim Executive, written by myself and my partner Jacinta, at www.theinterimexecutive.com.au. Thank you and have a good day.